Hello, everybody. Welcome to the engine house. A few things, a lot of stuff's been going on, some changes happening. My son and I and my grandsons, we were going to be going to the ghost trains in Maine, but we needed a specific map that had the coordinates and stuff that to find it. There's a lot of logging roads and things out there, and unless you know kind of exactly where you're going, you can't find the place. And thinking that the map, the atlas I needed, they used to be for sale all over the state. I guess now you have to order them. So by the time I got my hands on one, and that was luckily I ran into somebody that happened to have a used copy. So those plans have been delayed. Also, the presentation I was supposed to be having was also delayed. The town manager, right at the moment, is the only one who knows how to operate the video equipment in this thing where it was going to be to broadcast. And sadly, he had a bit of a family emergency and had to take off. He wanted to postpone it for a few days, but it's right in the middle of my surgery. And so I said, no, we can't do that. We're going to have to wait. And I will be getting with him. He's got somebody he's training, from what I understand, that will be able to take over the running of that, building and the video stuff. So hopefully when I'm done and recovered, I'll be able to get that presentation on. In the meantime, there's a lot of other things been going on. My son and grandson, of course, you saw the video where they were here learning how to do some painting. We'll be doing some more of that, but again, it's been pushed off because of surgery and whatnot. So I won't be shooting any videos for a while. So I'm kind of trying to fill in for a little bit. Videos will be coming out not every week, but every couple of weeks, quite possibly, until I've recovered and I'm back up to, being able to shoot. And then I'll have my son and grandson here. My son is also looking for work. His wife just started a job. My wife started a brand new job with the state. So yours truly has taken over a lot of the housework around here and stuff that goes on. So there's a lot of changes happening, and they're happening fast, and things are moving. So I'm just, rolling with the punches here. Anyway, I wanted to talk about this. Here is the first half of what will end up being Gruesome Cannery. You can see here, I put the shingles started on this roof here with the shingles. We print off a few of these. This is a sheet, and I cut them. You can see the lines, the solid lines here, and then there's two sets of shingles per that section. So I cut them in half, and then trim them down. Hello, shop kitty. Of course, she hasn't been able to really pester me lately. So anyway, I started with this roof here. There is supposed to be a water tank sitting on top of this, and I decided here is the water tank. I'm not really overly thrilled with that. It's really not it doesn't really look water tank other than the top. It doesn't really look like a water tank. And it's I'm not happy with it. So we're not going to use this. I'm not going to put a water tank up there. I'll put that somewhere else. In the meantime, I have to finish shingling this roof and this little roof right here. I moved this door down. I believe I showed that in another video. I wasn't sure if it was a door or a window. Didn't really say. These instructions are basically, there's no writing. It's just Pictionary. You have to kind of guess what they're supposed to be. None of the doors came with, they just were wide open. So they didn't have a back on them. So I've been putting, a back. So anyway, I'm working on building number 2. And I said at one point, I believe, that I would show you what I was doing. And I've been, grabbing bits and pieces here with my wife working and everything going on. It's been snatching a bit here, snatching a bit there, and I haven't really had a chance to shoot a video. I finally get a few minutes. What I've done is, and there's not a lot left in here, but I'll show you what this is. Dark gray acrylic paint, and I've put in probably 6, 7, 8 drops of paint and a little bit of water, just enough to thin it, enough to make it look more like a stain than a paint, which is what I was trying to do here. You can see, okay, this is what the wood looks like unstained, okay, and here it is with a stain. And then I decided I was going to experiment a little bit. I kind of like the way it came out, but it is a lot of work. I could have painted, weathered it with some paint, the dry brushing, and made it look. And I decided I was going to try something different. This is blue, bright blue. Hang on one second. Here we are. Well, excuse me, dark blue. The bright blue is something. You kitty, I do not need this stuff on me. Thank you very much. She's wanting attention. It's dark blue. A few drops, 7 or 8 drops in just enough water to make it thin it out. And then I start brushing it on and letting it dry. And that's probably 4 coats on that, I think. This is basswood, and it really does suck up the paint. It's a process. It's a lot different. I wanted it to look more faded than chipped, and I wanted, so, we've got, here we go. This is part of the catwalk. I just showed that picture a few minutes ago. I have another piece of it here. And the glue didn't hold so well. This goes between the 2 buildings when it's done. This shop kitty. This glues in right here and kind of sets right there. Okay. What I am going to do is re-glue this piece for starters. The glue is, you see how it's. And then I am going to cover this all up. This is not going to be a catwalk. It's going to be more of, let's say, a conveyor between buildings, which there's a door that goes here, and it's not going to go there. I decided not to. On this building, of course, I'd put the door in. This is where the other end of the catwalk connects, and there's a roof. There's the roof panels for the catwalk. So I'd already put this door in, and then I decided, okay, we're going to make it a conveyor. Actually, my grandson was the one that suggested that. You'll see that you've seen that in one of the other videos. So that's, of course, it was dry. It's already there, so you're not going to see it. I did take the other one and put it with some other parts, maybe be able to use it later. So anyway, here is this one. This is the first half. It's a nice kit. I wish they were a little more detailed. I had some trouble with the trim. You have to kind of guess which one, especially here. This piece was right. This piece initially, these are 2 pieces of trim here on this corner. This one, I originally put the wrong piece here. It went all the way down underneath. And then I realized, because 3 steps later, they talk about the porch. And so I thought, okay, wait a minute, that's the wrong piece. I had to pry this one off and put it where it was supposed to be. And I forgot which, I think it's right here. This is the piece. And I found the right one that set here that ended. And then I put the porch on. The porch is actually one of the last steps when you're putting everything. They want you to put the whole thing together first and then paint it. No. At least that's the impression I get with you know, again, none of these, there is no, it just has the steps, the page number, and then you're kind of left to guess what goes where. And hopefully it ends up looking like that. So it's been kind of a challenge on some of this stuff, figuring out what goes where and the different trim pieces I have over here. So I'm still plugging away at it little at a time. I have some windows and I have to still kind of paint these. Now for the windows, to make them look, the paint was chipped and faded and coming off. I used light buttermilk and Shop Kitty. I have to do something here, and I'm going to put a little bit on the palette, and I'll show you what I did here. Shop Kitty does, when she's awake, she wants to be right here. You know, Shop Kitty, I have to show people what I'm doing here. You know what I mean? You know, I know you want attention, don't you? Yes, you do. You don't seem to get enough here lately. Okay, and this is a piece of sponge. I have the rest of it floating around here somewhere. You rip a little piece off, and then you pull it so you don't get, some of the paint that's dry. I will use this until, of course, it's doing nothing but painting my fingers, and then, of course, I'll find the other sponge and I'll take care of that. So here we have, this has been, I soaked this in some of this gray for a couple of days until it soaked up enough. Again, this basswood really soaks up the paint, excuse me. If I had done it, dry brushed it on there and done the typical light to dark, 3 different types or whatever, it would have come out pretty close to where I wanted it, but I was more inclined to want kind of a stain. And I don't know which video it is. It's one of Jason Jensen's early ones from this current. So we're going back 3.5, maybe almost 4 years, when he talks about taking regular, this is the deep gray that I use. He talks about taking gray, and if you don't have the stain, and thinning this out. He does talk about it. He shows how to do it. So I tried it, and it's okay. On this basswood, though, again, it soaks up the paint really fast. So I had to do, the gray more than once as well to get the color I wanted. And again, with the blue, I could have just as easily dry brushed it on there, but I wanted it to look a little more faded. I did show a picture of a barn north of here where the north side is pretty much all gray. The paint's pretty much all gone. I was going to go a little bit different than that, which is what I went for. Shop Kitty, you got to get down for just a second, sweetie. So now we've got this. Here we are. Okay, this is stained. It's a little more on this side than this side. I don't know why that is, but that's the way they were. I soaked them. One side came out pretty good and the other side not so much. So now we're going to go ahead and dip this a little bit in here, get a little bit on there. Then you're going to dab most of it off. And then we're just going to hit this up. And you can go however you want. And there we are. Let's see if I can. Okay, can you see that okay? All right. And it looks like flaking and paint that's been faded off for a while. We'll set that over here while I've got the paint. Here's another window. We have 2 different kinds of windows. It's funny. This is, if you look at the siding on this, it's up and down, more like board and bat siding, which is nice. That's not too bad. And if you look at this one, this is more like clapboard. You can see the, okay, going that way instead of up and down. It tells me that for the kit, maybe if you wanted a backstory to go by, that the tool and die company was one building and then they built the other one later. I mean, you can come up with any way you want, anything you want. It's your world, right? So also I messed up a little bit. I put this on, again, something with everything going on. I've been kind of in a rush. I put this on and I forgot to paint it. The same with these. These two here, braces, will be exposed. The rest of this will be covered with basswood. That's going to be filled in with basswood to make it, again, it's a conveyor of some sort between the two buildings rather than a catwalk. So let's do one more of these. We have this. We dip this in. I hear one of the dogs coming up. And then we, hello, Amarok. We hit this up. And there is no rhyme or reason to this. You can do it any way you want. There you go. I'm going to set this aside, let it dry. And we'll do a few more because we're right here. And I have the paint. Whoop, I forgot to dab it. And not everything has to go to the lab, Amarok. Use our lab mix. Did you want to come up and say hi? Hi. Hi. Yes. Yes. So that is how you do that. Okay. And then I will show you a couple things on this, since I've got it right here. You can see the shingles missing here. Okay. If you want to do the whole thing as shingle, again, this is an old building. Maintenance isn't quite a big deal. You can do the whole thing shingled as you want. That's entirely up to you. I kind of like a little bit of a weathered look where things aren't exactly what they seem. And you've got some tar paper either underneath, or in some cases, there may be a piece of tar paper on top, patching it. Either way, I could probably do both. This is a little thicker than some construction paper, and it's got a white edge. So when you use this, if it's going to be something you're going to see, you're going to want to take care of these edges. You don't want white showing on any of this. I keep markers around for just that reason. Hi, Shop Kitty. Get a pair of scissors, and I have a brand new set of markers in here. Just picked them up. A black marker. Now, for the shingles, I used brown. Actually, I used gray. I'm sorry, I used a gray. And I have a gray marker here. Just bought a whole set of these because I had some and I lost them. I don't know where they went. So we're gonna cut out a piece here, and you don't have to be perfect with it. If you're gonna have it underneath the shingles, then you don't need to worry about doing anything with the edges. It's only if you're gonna put it on top, like it's a patch over something else. You want to make sure you can see the white there. Okay, it's all the way around. You want to make sure that is covered up so you're not seeing it. A little more realism that way. So, and you take one of these, I'm just going to do it to show you. And you come along in here and you just go like that, like that, like that. And there, Shop Kitty, really. And there you have it, okay? The edges are now all covered. Real simple. And you can use Shop Kitty. What did you do with the lid? Huh? Can I see? There it is, right there. If you don't have a cat, you're missing out, okay? That's all I have to say about that. Cats are a great source of entertainment. We're going to put this right here. Well, no, you know what? I'm going to put it here. I'm going to give it a little, we have a patch here already. I'm going to give it a little symmetry, you might say. Put this over here. And we need some tacky glue. And you don't have to get carried away with the glue. When I was younger, and some of you are probably the same, we thought more was better. And then you got older, and if you're modeling, you realize less is more, right? I can imagine some of us, our first foray into model building, it looked like a train wreck. I'm sure of it. I know mine did. And this was back when I was a kid and got into model building. As I got older, of course, I started realizing that less is more. You want enough glue to hold it. You don't want enough glue to make it look like it's been glued. So we will leave it at that. Now we'll take one of these, and you can use, I have an X-Acto knife here. You can use one of those. I also have this, which cuts. You can put this out, you can put this on, and you can cut with that. And that's, if you got one of those, you know, that's good too. I prefer a good old-fashioned pair of scissors. So we're going to cut this. Okay. Now we're going to decide. We're going to go right here. And we just want a little bit. So we're going to go there. And again, this is gray. And you just want to go, you can see, maybe, I'm not sure, you can see the edges. They're white, okay? You just want to cover that up. You can use the brown. I have a brown marker in there. I have, of course, the black. And if you know you're going to cover up, you only need to do 3 sides, right? Because the other one, this other edge will be covered up by the shingles. Actually, no, this one will not. So I will do the top. But if you're going to be laying them down like this, you don't need to cover up the top row right away. And again, less is more. We just want a little bit. And occasionally, I will use my finger to smooth that out. And then you want to make sure they're facing the right way. And there is a right way. If you look at these, I can tell which way is up. And we'll put this right here. We'll get it right on the edge. There we go. Okay. And now we'll make another one. We'll start right here. We'll go to here. And we'll cut it. And you want to try and keep them as level, you know, as straight across. You can see some of this is not as straight as it should be, probably. But again, you just don't want them all kinds of which way. You just want them to be as straight as humanly possible. It just looks a little more real that way. And we're not too worried about getting some gray. One of the things I will be doing when I am finished with the roofing is dry brushing some gray over it, because the tar paper, the construction paper I used as quote-unquote tar paper, is a little too clean. And anybody who's seen tar paper that's been exposed for a while knows they're not clean. It's not anything that's clean. It is not. It's filthy. It's got dirt on it. And there we are, a little bit. I use my finger again to spread that out. I'll find the right end. And always good to have a couple of paper towels handy. Okay, there we are. Now, I'll go ahead and do some more of this, and I'll be quiet. Speed this up. Okay, you kind of get the general idea here. This is very, very time consuming, but here we are. Okay, so all of this will be done, and they for whatever reason, there is no, again, these kits aren't bad. They're inexpensive, but I find some faults with them. That's to be expected. There is no ridge pole here, or ridge, to cover that. It's pretty much, if you left this alone, it wouldn't look right. Also, you've got the tabs poking through. They made these look like shingles, which is fine, but you'll get a better result doing something like this. If you buy one of these kits, I mean, again, they're reasonably priced. They're good. You can customize it any way you want to. I just really, if pay attention to the instructions on there, and again, there's no writing anywhere. They're all just kind of Pictionary. Test fit pieces before you glue them, because sometimes, like I said, I messed this piece up here thinking it was a different piece, and then I found out it was the wrong one. So it's always good to test fit. Anyway, if you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully here soon I'll have my son and my grandson back here so that we can work on those G-scale box cars. I want to get them. My grandson's got a good hold, a good grasp of the painting. If he can find the HO scale building that he did, I will show that on one of my future videos. Excuse me. He was a lot younger than he is now when he did that, and I'll tell you, it was amazing for a first try. I was absolutely blown away by how well it came out. So I'm not sure he will have too much trouble painting the boxcar. My son, his grandmother is an artist. My mother, he has some artistic ability, but it's going to be interesting to see how he does on his first try. I'm sure he'll do pretty good. It's a skill like anything else. You have to learn it. So, I'm looking forward to having them here and doing it together. It's going to be a little while down the road, though, sadly. Anyway, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment. Again, I always love comments. And let me know what you think. And I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, bye for now.